You are now listening to the RMT Books Podcast with your host, Ricky Van Winkle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RMT Books Podcast. Today, it is an honor and a privilege to have our guest. He is a R&B singer out of Florida. He is literally the next big thing coming up. If you haven't heard about him, you're going to know about him after today. We got Lucien Auguste on the program. Lucien, how you doing today?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm doing real good. Early on my side, late on your side, but we still doing real good.
For sure, man. Yo, I'm going to hop right into it. So, real quick, for y'all, I've known Lucien a very long time, and I have really the privilege to ask him some questions today that's going to help all y'all get to know him at a whole nother deeper level. So you guys see his music, you see him out there, you hear his message, and we're going to kind of peel the layers back today and get to know Lucien a little better. So I'm going to ask this first question very delicately and with full and utmost respect for you, Lucien. I want you to talk to me about your entry checkpoint detail that you had during one of your deployments.
Well, okay, so with the entry control point, on my first deployment, I was in Baghdad, Iraq, of course, and it was a military checkpoint, but we had interpreters that would come in and out, and local nationals just walk back and forth. So with that, as being as young as I was, I had to understand the environment that I was in, and from that aspect, you have to understand, we're in their country. We got to understand how they feel. Because somebody came to the United States and they were doing things that we were doing to them, we would feel some type of way, of course, and we're doing the same thing to them, and that's not right. So we had to understand what they were going through. So we had to build a relationship with them. After everything that happened before I got there, we had to try to build a relationship, and everybody wasn't still happy with us being there and how we did what we did. So we had to build a relationship. We had to let them know we was coming in peace. We had to let them know we're not here for war. We just here to help them grow and help them rebuild. You know what I'm saying? And with that, we faced a lot of situations where it could have went real. We could have went left, but with God and with our how can I say this? With our training, we was able to handle it, and nothing went terribly wrong. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
From that entry control point, it really helped my mind elevate into seeing people in their different nationalities and different races and seeing how they move and how they operate. So it's a lot of people with different characteristics. So if you learn the characteristics of the people, you'll learn how to build a relationship with that person, and you'll learn how to deal with that person on a different level.
For sure. And let me get into this relationship that you had with the man and the woman standing on your sides. Lucien, what is it that happened? I believe you were mentioning you went on leave before while you were doing the entry control point detail. And while you went on leave, something went down, and it really tested the strength of the relationship you had with your fellow soldiers. Can you speak on that?
Oh yeah. So of course, I went on leave, and it was a guy that came through the entry control point, and he came in from the side or whatnot, and I wasn't there, but one of my NCOs was there, and he had to run out the tower and leave one person in the tower to man it. So that person in the tower had to be able to stay aware, man the radio, and still watch the lanes. So that wasn't a diversion for something else to happen. You get what I'm saying? But I felt like anything could happen because yes, we did shoot off a couple rounds, but we didn't hit the guy, and nothing else further happened. The other incident was when the rocket came in to close to our living area. So with that, that's a very traumatic situation. Even before we was even flying in, the DFAT got blown up, had a hole in the DFAT, so it delayed us to come into the city of Baghdad. So, with all this stuff, I feel like it's just God's blessing, that I that I was able to witness this, but still was able to go into a foreign land and know that God was with me to be safe, no matter where I go. So now that I'm back in the land that I think is safe, which is not, because I felt safer in Iraq than I do in the United States. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, through it all, I know that God will protect me through anything I've been through, even through almost my last deployment. You know what I'm saying? Before I got out, even during those times when a C-130 almost came down on me. Last minute pulled up. You get what I'm saying? So, by the blessing of God, everything is falls in place.
For sure.
Everything falls in place.
For sure. And so now you have those things happening to you, and it kind of lets you know just how valuable each day is and how much of an absolute blessing it is to be breathing, every morning that you get the opportunity to do that. So it's great to kind of be able to gain that perspective from going through those experiences. And it's led you all to today, where now you're taking everything you've gone through, you're taking relationships you've been in, and you're moving out to spread your message to everybody else with your music. So I'm going to get into a quick quote from you, and I just want to hear kind of your opinions on it and what got you into writing this and what made you want to share something like this. So here we go on the quote. In the present, most relationships fail due to individuals not wanting to work things out. Instead, we give up and move to the next partner without healing from the past. Learn to communicate, but more importantly, understand each other's point of view. Time changes a lot of things, but it should not change the love within. That's a quote from yourself. Lucien, go for it.
So with that quote, like you said, I've been through a lot of relationships, and, when you're young, everybody think they know what love is or they experienced it, but they never experienced the hardship that comes with love. You know what I'm saying? Love is not always happy, but love is when you go through the hard thing with the person, you come out through the other side, and then you can look back and see we made it through this, and that's love. But now in these days and times, with the social media, what's going on, and how it is like, being monogamous is not the thing anymore. So everybody is thinking like, I just find somebody else. But see, the thing is, what built that connection in the first place, people got to go back to where they connected at. You know what I'm saying? What made that spark? What made them want to take that next level, take that next leap into giving somebody their all? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they can learn to grow and understand. But as younger, and you would never be able to fully understand that unless you were grown or taught about love. You know what I'm saying? You were shown love in a household. You have to be raised in love to understand it. But if you're not raised in love, you can only go off what people say and the things you see in the world. And if you go off the things you see in the world, you will always fall short. You get what I'm saying? So in the past, I was always quick to jump and move to the next person. You get what I'm saying? Because I was like, I don't really need them. But then when I sat back and think and put myself in their position and see how they were thinking, you know what I'm saying, I understand a lot more. So I took like 2 or 3 years off of being with somebody just to understand that. So when I brought this song out and then I found the woman for me, it made me value her even more, made me understand her even more. You get what I'm saying? So, and then from there, it just, love will always grow. Love will always be, and it's not easy. Love is not easy, not one bit. But if it's easy, it's not worth having. But it's worth fighting for. You gotta keep going. But you can't. But let me clear that up as well. If it's worth fighting for and worth the fight, then keep going. But if you're fighting and it's not worth the fight, and you know your value, then you can go ahead and remove yourself from the situation. And and let them see what they have lost or what they have missed out on. You get what I'm saying? So through that quote, that's what I feel. But I feel like if you really love somebody, no matter what you go through, the love ain't gonna change. No matter how old you get, time will change. You know what I'm saying? But you have to go back to see, dang, look at all this we've been through. Look at all this, the memories. See, people don't want to take pictures. People don't want to do things no more. But it's little moments that turns into memories that will always last a lifetime. That's why I tell people, take pictures. Because then when that person's not there anymore, you only have the memories and the moments that y'all took together. You get what I'm saying? So that's where the quote comes from.
Awesome. Damn. And so this song, We Don't Even, was kind of a reflection of the previous 2 to 3 years that you had gone where you hadn't really dated anybody or been in a relationship, kind of trying to get your mind right and gain that new perspective. Is that what We Don't Even was about?
Right. So exactly. So We Don't Even was exactly about taking 2 years off and then seeing how all my relationships went. And then when it got rough, the communication just completely stopped. You get what I'm saying? And we just didn't talk about it. And then we just let it die. You get what I'm saying? And then when it's time to rekindle the flames can't be rekindled because we don't even know where the love even started at. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really just talk. Like people just, like I said at the end, you want to walk out, you just want to leave. You don't want to sit down and talk about it. You want to walk out. Okay, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I can't stop you from doing what you want to do. But if you love me, you would sit down and talk about it.
I hear you, dog. So just real quick, because I've been married about 10 years. It's going to be 10 years this year. And, this situation of there's somebody and they want to make their own decisions, and each person is just free to make their own decisions. You want to sit there or you wanted to sit there and talk. They wanted to get up and go. That's their decision. And when people like that, when they make those decisions, we just have to respect that, especially as far as love goes. You have to respect their decisions in those situations. And so I really appreciate you talking about that, man.
Right. But the other flip side of that as well, if they're for you, right?
For sure.
But in another way, we think about it as we're trying to go into it on our own perspective, right? We're trying to go into it on our own thinking, the way we think we know how to go into it, right? But God said what? God is love, and He loves us, right? And if we lean on His understanding, we won't waste our time trying to find love because He'll bring the right person we need in our life. But we have to wait and put our trust in Him, because there's a lot of people out here, it's fraud and faking like they want it, but they didn't want the illusion of it. You get what I'm saying? So if you lean on God, God will always show you the things you need. So I say, God is love. Lean on God, and He will show you love.
For sure. And
best way to put it.
So when we talk about your next album coming out in February, Lover's Lane, this is the meaning you have behind love in the title of the EP.
Yes, Lover's Lane, the stages of love. The good, the bad. It's the stages you go through. The beginning stage when it's all love and you thinking it's the one, to when it's rough and it don't seem like it's getting good, then y'all bouncing back, and it's just a love cycle. But if you stick in love, hey, stick with God, Lover's Lane will always be a part of your life. You could stay on Lover's Lane. You will never find hate on Lover's Lane.
For sure. And two of the songs from that EP are called Feelings and Fallen. Would you mind sharing some of your thoughts on those songs and what those are about?
Well, okay, so I'll start off with Fallen. So Fallen is basically a song about a relationship where one of the partners want to give up but don't want to give up. They're fed up at the situation, but they love that partner so much they don't want to leave. You get what I'm saying? It was like they're falling. You know what I mean? The Cupid, every time they want to leave, Cupid pull them back in. They draw them back in. You know what I'm saying? So it's just falling. You just falling in love.
For sure. And what about Feelings? What's your thoughts on that song?
Well, feelings is simple. A lot of men don't speak on their feelings anymore. Men feel like if they're too macho or they talk about their feelings, they become seen weaker as, instead of being an alpha male. But at the same time, we have to understand women need nurturing. Women are nurturing creatures. You know what I mean? Women are the nurturers, so they need to understand our feelings as well and know that we do have feelings. So feelings is basically, stating, the song feeling basically stating that, hey, let's talk about it. This is how I'm feeling about the situation. How are you feeling about it? So basically a talk, there's a conversation.
Nice. And Lucia, you're just on the beginning of your, it's an R&B career. Am I correct there?
Well, the it's R&B now, but it's soon to be gospel.
Soon to be gospel. Okay.
Yes.
And what kind of R&B influences are you taking into your gospel music?
Well, to be honest, just God love. It's just the love of God. You gotta understand, right? God poured His heart out in the Bible to save our lives, right? He could have destroyed mankind, but the love, right? So just like our kids, we tell them to do something, they don't do it. We get mad, right? We want to spank, right? But how many times God just told us to get right, and we didn't get right? But He still showed favor in us. He's still been patient with us. He still showed us love. You get what I'm saying? God is love, and I tell the woman in my life, I tell her, you know what I mean? My wife, I tell her, I said, I love you like God loved me. Because if I love you like God loved me, there's no condition in that love. That love will always come unconditional. No matter how mad I get, no matter how upset we are at each other, that love will always come unconditional. So bringing Lover's Lane in the gospel, is a smooth transition. Because if you talk about love and you want to give love, the world needs love. So as long as you're talking about God, hey, the love gonna come.
For sure.
He said, two or more in His presence, He shall move.
Man,
He's moving.
I'm telling you, man, you on fire today, bro. So everything that you're putting out there right now is just trying to shed that message that just love. I find that absolutely incredible. What point in your life did you start to say, you got more into it, you got a closer relationship with God, and you started to say, you know what, I need to start getting this out there and letting other people know what it's all about?
Well, it started, let's see, I can say it started in 2021. 2021 January. I just had a talk with God, and I just was moving with God, and 2021 I was homeless. Don't get me wrong, I had a job, I was working, but I was homeless. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of God told me to move, and I moved. I listened. I was homeless for a good, I would say, 6 months, living out of my car, going to work. But I leaned on God, and I stayed in the Bible, and I leaned on His word, and I have faith, and I still have faith that whatever I go through, I put it in His hands, and He'll get me out, because He Himself has never let me down. You get what I'm saying? So I was homeless, but I was working. I worked hard. I kept working. And I built a relationship with God. And then the door started opening. I got a better job, better pay, got an apartment, and I just kept moving up from there. And like I said, now God has given me what I needed and what I asked for. Now it's time for me to return the favor and give Him what He has blessed me with my voice to give back to the people. Because all in all, it's to give the people back to Him.
Wow. Lucien, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and representing. Everybody, make sure you guys check out Lover's Lane, coming out in February from the artist Lucien Auguste. Lucien, thanks again, man.
Thank you so much for having me.